Okay, so Israel's posted some more propaganda, and I'm going to try and explain to you how it's propaganda. So yesterday, Israel tweeted out something, and they said that a year ago today, a Hamas tunnel collapsed underneath a United Nations school. And then they also said, which we've seen the videos of the aftermath, that on November the 8th, IDF troops exposed a terrorist tunnel shaft near a United Nations school. And what they're trying to say is that on November the 8th, they blew up the same tunnel that collapsed a year ago. So now what they're trying to say is that Hamas is digging tunnels underneath United Nations schools. Now I'm going to try and explain to you, one, why it's a complete lie, and two, Israel is lying to you on purpose and what their motivations are for doing that. So the point they're trying to make in this tweet is that Hamas is repeatedly making tunnels underneath civilian targets, like a United Nations schools, for example. Now, perhaps they are. We haven't actually seen much evidence of them doing that, but let's take their word for it. Not that it means much. Now, the information that we already know from previous examples from the IDF and what they've said, along with other independent studies, is that these Hamas tunnels are between 10 to 20 meters underground. The current missiles and bombs that Israel is dropping on Gaza, they don't have the capability to penetrate 10 meters underground. That's providing that they hit a building. And even if the bombs or the missiles just hit the ground first and don't hit a building, they still don't have the power to penetrate 20 meters underground, which is supposedly how far the tunnels underneath that Hamas made go. So even if the school did actually have a tunnel underneath it, the only thing that Israel achieved from dropping the bomb on that school was that the tunnel underneath would probably collapse in on itself. I say probably because there's a chance it wouldn't, depending how deep it goes. So if we just look at the risk-reward of what Israel did, and we look at it from an afterwards perspective of what happened from bombing that school. So the risks are that over 100 civilians die, you really piss off the United Nations because you've just blown up one of their schools, and you probably annoy a lot of other countries. So they're the three main risks of what Israel achieved from bombing this school. Except the reward of what Israel gets from bombing this school is that they might kill some Hamas members if they're unlucky enough to be standing in the wrong spot of the tunnel. Except you'll probably never know whether you actually killed any Hamas members or not, because they'll either be buried 20 meters underground or they will be alive and they would have just run away. So for all we know, Israel bombed the school, killed over 100 civilians, and didn't kill any Hamas members, except they claimed that there was a tunnel underneath it, so that makes it okay. Now, the conclusion you get from this is that it's obvious Israel is happy to kill thousands of civilians just for the chance that you might kill a few Hamas members. And they've effectively admitted this in the tweet where they said they blew up the school on the 8th of November. Except if the tunnel happened to be under an Israeli school, then they probably wouldn't have blown it up. So it's a pretty fair statement to make that Israel doesn't care about Palestinian life, and by extension, they don't care about destroying as much as Gaza as possible. So as a summary, because this video's been quite long, Israel is prepared to kill over 100 civilians and bomb a United Nations school just for the chance that they might kill some Hamas members, except they will never know if they've actually killed any Hamas members. And on a separate note, if you want to see more content like this, or if you want to see some updates on what's happening, you can just leave me a follow so you don't miss any of that.